And since you were training for all of this while you were still working your full-time job, how did you manage to balance all of it?
Apart from being made fun of at work because people laughed at my diet and they're like, what is that? That's not real food. That's not proper food. So you need to find out where your support base is. Mine wasn't at work. I think I probably had about two open supporters out of like 40, but those
Mm,
two really had my back. They're like, look, people are going to talk and people are afraid of the unknown. So if you're different to them, they want to try pick you out and make fun of it, but
yeah.
don't pay attention to them. You know what you're training for, so keep that goal in mind. My mom didn't understand what I was doing either. She's like, so this is a beauty contest, modeling contest for people with muscle. Like, what are you trying to do? She didn't get it either. But funny enough, the day of the competition, or when I was getting tickets, which I think was about 2 weeks before, she's like, "Oh, cool, get for me, I'll come through, and as long as you get for me and a friend." So I got tickets for her and a friend, and they found it hilarious. They found the whole competition so funny, especially the guys. Like, what is this? Like, people are posing in little trunks that they paid so much money for, and the tan, some of the tan, especially like on the white guys, starts to turn like an olive green. So they just look so odd when you're watching from, the audience. And so they were like, yo, this thing is funny, miss. So they found it hilarious. But when I came onto stage, I could actually hear them screaming for me. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. You guys enjoyed the show. They're like, yeah, it was so great seeing you on stage. I was like, yay, that's someone I know. And I think also just seeing someone black, because it's still a very white Afrikaans industry. So
Mm.
yeah, when you see colored people and black people, you stick out like a sore thumb, and it's like, oh, okay, who's this one? So they'll remember you in your next competition. They're like, oh, there's that girl. We saw her last time. What was your question? Because I'm talking here.
I was asking how you balance it, how you balance going
Balance
to
it.
gym, going to work,
Yes.
going to work
Yes.
hungry.
Yes. So it's also, and another thing about bodybuilding training, it's so solitary. Um, you literally get to gym and you find people want to train with you, but you've got such a strict program and you've got
Mm.
set time frames. So if I need to get my workout done in like 45 minutes or an hour, that's all I have. I need to squeeze my workout into that. I don't have time for the chit chat. So then what I ended up doing was like getting to gym normal time, but then like chatting for half an hour or an hour before I actually start my training, just so that, I wasn't being antisocial, and then get into my training. Because when I was training, I was like, guys, I can't be talking. I need to go from this machine to that machine to. I became a little bit of a bully, actually. So if people were hugging machines or hugging equipment, I'd be like, sorry, what are you doing? How much longer will you be? And I was like, in your face all the time. Like, hurry up, get finished. I need to do this right now. I need to be done with my workout by a certain time. So please hurry up. So it's very, very solitary in that. But again, because you've got the discipline from the running, you know what it is that you need to do to make it through your workout. And the moves that I didn't know, because I didn't, as much as I had a coach, she was a virtual coach. We never actually met. So the moves I didn't know, I had to YouTube, and I was like, okay, what is this? And in that like half an hour to an hour of chatting beforehand, I'd ask the fitness trainers, hey guys, look, I've got this in my program. Do you know what this move is? YouTube says it's this. Is it correct? I want to make sure I'm doing it correctly. And then they'd show me the right way to do it. So by the time I got into my workout, I was like, okay, this is this is the moves. This is how to execute it. Start with the lighter weight before moving on to a heavier one. So I'd get used to it there. And then you come home and sleep. But I do think I had to cut out a lot of social activities while
Mm.
training for it. You just don't have either the energy or the time for it. Fortunately, I still made a couple of weddings, but I do think I probably said no to a couple of drinks outings because you can't be drinking. I probably turned down birthday invitations because I was just tired, but I kept that final December date in mind and like it'll return to normal after this. So I know some of the bodybuilding athletes have an off season and on season. Some people, especially the professional ones, just keep it on season throughout. So they literally stick to
Mm.
that terrible diet for like the whole year. But I think
Oh,
I would definitely try have an on season and off season, so that during on season you're seeing your friends again, seeing family
Mm,
again, doing the things that you want to do. Like if I want to go running, I can actually go running. I can't say no, no running because it's too much cardio. So
mm.
yeah, I think on season, off season probably works a lot better for someone who's working.
I think, so you said you haven't met your coach ever in person,
I saw that registration,
and that was it.
pretty much.
Oh, wow. Okay. This is the new way of like coaching and
Yep,
fitness. This is where the fitness industry is going, but we'll
yep.
we'll touch on that a little bit later. Um, I just want to ask you, so COVID has brought about factors, issues in society that we knew were there, but now I think are escalated because of being on lockdown and being cooped up in one place. Specifically in relation to this, I'm talking about gender-based violence. But apart from that, I just wanted to ask you if there are any women's issues that resonate with you.
So I think just in terms of empowerment, a lot of women, whether it's from their backgrounds or whether it's just from conforming to like a patriarchal society, like to doubt their roles in society or themselves as well. So even when I go into the weight section, there are probably about 3 or 4 women there, and the rest are just men. And then when I ask, like some of my female friends, why don't you do weights? And they're like, no, I don't know how to do it, or I'm scared. Or the biggest one is, I don't want everyone watching me when I don't know what I'm doing. So they're so afraid of eyes on them. But the moment they get someone to show them the ropes, that, look, this is how you do a bicep curl, or this is how you do a shoulder press, or eventually start with an assisted pull up before you can do a full pull up. If they get that reassurance and they get the guidance, it's amazing how that boosts their confidence, especially in the gym. And then the moment a woman is feeling great about her athletic performance, then she also probably vanity comes in, starts feeling good about the way she looks.
Mhm.
And then when that comes in, she's just a lot more confident overall. So whether it's in the workplace, whether it's in her social groups such as church or even just gym, she's got a lot more confidence. And I think when
Mm,
women believe in themselves and empower each other, it's easier to get along with them. I think there's also a reason why a lot of us just train with guys. It's we don't have Guys don't tend to have the drama. So guys are so used to whether it's releasing or whether it's not doubting themselves, they just do. They do what they need to do and they get along with the show. Whereas women, because of the doubts and they hold themselves back, it's like, yo, I can't be, so I'm going to be a counselor and a trainer. So you realize just the obstacles that women are facing. And yes, when you have the patience for it, it's amazing what the results can produce and when that woman starts growing. But I think we need to pay a little bit more attention to that and realize why women tend to quit gym programs, quit teams earlier on. We started a touch team in Soweto some years ago and it just fell apart. So there are just so many other things in society that
mm,
that are bringing them down and they feel that they need to conform to, like, oh, I should have a child by a certain age, so I'm going to quit touch and I'm going to find a boyfriend and then have a child with him and then my life will be better. I think if we let each other know what the opportunities are and empower each other, we can go so much further.
I like that last point that you made that I'm gonna quit touch and I'm gonna find a boyfriend. We're gonna have a baby together. Have you found that in your experience, some women say no, I don't want to have the type of body that you want because it's going to decrease my chances of finding a man.
Oh yes, absolutely. Happens a lot. It even gets said to me by guys, like guys at the gym. They be like, "Ooh, you shouldn't be pushing so hard. How are you gonna find a boyfriend now? I mean, you're gonna be stronger than this guy. You're gonna be fitter than him. You'll intimidate him. So you'll never find a guy if you keep pushing this hard at the gym. So just take it down a couple of notches, and don't be as tough." So yeah, men and women say it.
I was gonna like this was one of my questions leading up to this interview because even before you started bodybuilding and you were running, your body was quite built, and now obviously it's transformed. So I wanted to know if you've faced any comments like that coming from women as well, because some women feel that, or rather, some people in society feel that as a woman, you shouldn't have a body that is too muscular, you know?
True. Yeah, no, I get that all the time. They'll look at your shoulders and they'll be like, "Oh, those are manly shoulders." They look at your abs, especially if your dieting's on point, and they'll be like, "Yo, you've got a tougher six pack than a guy. You actually look like a guy. The only difference is you have boobs." And then others will be like, "Yo, because you're training so hard, that's why you're still an A cup. How you ever gonna get boobs?" Funny enough, I'd even get it from my mom when I was growing up. She'd be like, "Yeah, one of these sports of yours, that's why your breasts aren't growing. How are your breasts gonna grow if you're always so active?" But I don't think it bothered me that much. I do have I do have a complex about my boobs now. I'm like, I would get a boob job, and I know a lot of the girls in the industry get a boob job. A lot of them.
Mhm.
So because you lose so much body fat that, yeah, to get the perfect aesthetic, as they call it, or as they want it,
Mhm.
they get boob jobs because they all want to look amazing and so-called perfect. So I think that's another funny thing about bodybuilding is you're chasing perfection, but we'll never be perfect anywhere. We want to get
That's
as
true.
close as we can. But yeah,
Yes, I wanted to ask you about representation within the bodybuilding space because if we look at running, at the moment, running is a very diverse sport and it's accessible to a lot of people. You have 21-year-olds that are running, you've got 80-something-year-olds that are running. In terms of the bodybuilding industry, bodybuilding culture, is it accessible and is it diverse? Are there different races participating in the sport?
so my initial, I guess, perspective on that was that it's a very expensive sport, and that's why it's so white dominated. But when I got to the
Mm,
competition, I did see, those guys will have that gym guys see, and they're developing the athletes to come train at that level. But there's so few of them, so I do think cost
mm,
still plays a major part. I remember after my first comp, and I was showing off my photos at work. There was one lady from a completely different department. She's like, "Oh, I heard you in this competition," and she's Afrikaans, like hardcore. And she's like, "Yo, my friend was at the same one. But yo, she's going to quit because it's just become that expensive." So I think a lot of people are pulled away because of the costs. And again, because it's such a solitary sport. So your friends are probably going to be other bodybuilders. You've let go of your normal friends. But I do think there's
mm.
there's room for diversity, and I hope people of color start participating. I also think,
No, sorry,
sorry,
please go on.
sorry to cut you off. I also think there's a big taboo around how you showcase your body. I remember my mom was like, "This bikini is so small." Like, so she looked at it from a sexual point of view and not from a
Mm,
sport. And therefore, that's why I never minded like posting my pictures on it, because for me, it was always just a sport. And I still look at it as a
mm,
sport. But I know a lot of people, the moment they see you in that bikini, it becomes a sexual thing. And they're like, "Oh, I looked at no feet." And I'm like,
mm.
"Nah, this is just my pose for the show. It's a mandatory pose, and that's it."
Um, how do we make it? How do we make such sports more accessible to people? I've spoken to a person who does climbing. This is indoor rock climbing and outdoor rock climbing. Yesterday, somebody took over the account and they're a diver. But these are all very expensive sports that are not accessible to a lot of people. How do we take how do we make these sports more accessible? Because by making it more accessible, then the sport can be more diverse because a lot more people can afford it.
I think the question is, do the organizers want more people to participate? They might not. They might like the fact that it's so small. And I experienced the same thing when I was playing touch rugby. So part of why I quit touch is because it was becoming so expensive. We had to pay our own way for interprovincial competitions. We had to pay our own way for national competitions. Here you are representing your country, and you are paying, thousands of rands just to get to Scotland and go participate in a World Cup. So I do think some of these sporting organizations enjoy keeping the sport exclusive and keeping it small. And that could be an obstacle to expanding the sport because they like the size that it is currently and it works for them. And they get their people involved in the sport. How we could make it more mainstream, perhaps we might even want to start our own associations. So start a Black bodybuilding association and start hosting our own competitions, and maybe even reach out to the government and get some funding from there and from other companies as well. I do think that could work. I don't think people have tried to explore it. I could be naive in that thinking, but I do think that's a way that you could grow the sport, is just by doing and hosting your own competitions. They might not get the worldwide appeal that, say, Summer Super Bodies is getting at this point, especially in the beginning. But I do think the more of us that support each other, the various competitions could grow and you could get more people involved. Because they're the ones who said those heels are necessary. They're the ones who said these are the only people that are making the costume. So if I'm only getting my costume from 2 or 3 suppliers, they're going to charge whatever price they want. And that's why I can be paying up to 12,000 Rand for a bikini, because only 2 people are making them. So if we start building our own networks, I think it can be better.
There's a comment here which says, why is the sport expensive? Just a quick summary. What are the things that you pay for when you go to compete?
Okay, so apart from the thousands that you are spending on groceries every month, because you're literally having fish, and it's clean fish, chicken breasts, eggs, literally that's all you're having for a number of months leading up to the competition. So you're spending a lot on groceries there. For competition day, you are probably getting yourself a new wig. And I do think we need a bit more Zozi Binis in this industry and go hit the stage, go afro your how, as opposed to having to get a wig. I was planning a very wild hairstyle, and then I was told, no, you're probably going to lose out on scoring if you go that wild. It's too black. I was like, what? Yeah, you need to get yourself a wig. You'll place better. Plus, it's your first competition. So the lady who was advising me, she's been doing it for a couple of years, and she was like, look, when you've done 4 or 5 competitions and they know your face and they know what you're capable of, then do whatever you want. But in the beginning, they couldn't care about who you are, and they want you to look exactly like everyone else. And because you're black, it's going to work against you if you try to be bold. So just try conform a bit, and then go wild later. I know a girl who used to compete but doesn't anymore. She's recently had a baby, Ditwanelo used to go on stage with her bobcat Dunyana, and she would rock it. She did so well. I think she even stepped onto the Arnold stage, got her German cut, and she looked amazing. So I do think, yes, when they know your face and you've done a couple of competitions, then you could do whatever you want. So yes, the wig is the cost. Your eyelashes, you're probably getting eyelashes for the competition. That was the first time I got eyelashes. So I had to get eyelashes for the show. I had to get spray tan for the show. I had to get the shoes because I only want specific shoes. I had to get the bikini done. So those were some of the costs just for competition day, where I don't even spend 5 minutes on stage.
Wow. And all of these things are just are an add-on to your body.
They are.
And you spend so much to show off your body. Essentially, they could say, guys, walk on stage naked. But no, you need to get the bikini, you need to get the heels, you need to get a spray tan in your black, you need to get a new wig. So all of these extra added costs just add up. and you don't have a sponsor, you're paying for it all by yourself.
Correct. And then some of the diet changes are made during competition week. So they start introducing a lot of, what are they called? Like dandelion. I had to take a lot of dandelion. I had to start having Epsom salt baths. So some of the little costs are coming into your diet just for competition week. You haven't been eating them all along, but suddenly for competition week, you need them. And so yeah, you need quite a bit of flexibility in your budget just to accommodate the changes.
Mm.
But yes, it's an aesthetic. We're paying for the aesthetic.
Of course, you must always pay for the aesthetic.
Yeah.
Bodybuilding, but make it fashion, you know?
Yes.
Right now we're in the midst of COVID. I can't even remember what day of lockdown we're on. Sometimes I just think we're not even under lockdown. How has COVID affected your life personally?
Initially, I was fine. I was like, oh, it's only 3 weeks. You know, I'll be fine. It's only 3 weeks of this. I can
Did you
work
think it was
out in
3
my
weeks
yard.
and then... Wait, did you honestly think it was 3 weeks and then we're back to the streets?
Yep.
Oh, what?
It's like, oh, it's only going to be 3 weeks. So, yeah.
And then life goes back to normal.
Yes. Until fellow citizens happened, and I was like, fellow citizens, what? What's going on? So, so I've had to, I think, adjust my work. I had to get fiber. I was never the one who was going to get fiber at home because I'm hardly ever home. So I had to get fiber at home, and I stretch out my work day so much, but I can start working at like 9 in the morning just to have make sure my laptop's on in case I'm being monitored. But then I stretch my work out so much, and I could be sending an email now at 9 p.m. just responding to an email from the morning. But in between, I could be reading. In between, I could be fitting in a workout. In between, there's so many other things that I'm doing just to keep myself busy. Initially, I was reading a lot. However, since last week, I've become a Netflix subscriber. So I now know what Netflix is. Oh, yeah. I'm like sleeping at 2 or 3 in the morning. But fortunately, we're working from home. So all my work is literally at home. I know some people have complained that they're busier. I don't find it's the case because I work in construction. A lot of construction sites are still closed. So there's only so much we can do. We literally are waiting for lockdown to end to get the ground rolling. We can do a lot of planning work now. So we're doing a lot of design work, a lot of planning and programming, which we can do now, but none of the major construction work. So I'm not too stressed on the work front. So far, everything has been going fine. I do find it's difficult to fit in my workouts though. Discovery Vitality helps. It's nice that, you get a set target that you need to achieve a week. But honestly, going like beyond 30 minutes per workout is hard. And it never used to be a mission. It never did. Now it's like, yo, wow. Like, it is hard. And I literally just work out to get to my goal. I'm like, okay, do I have my 600 points for the week yet? Cool. Now I can relax. And then I'd rather relax. But I've done a lot more hiking now as well. I still haven't hit the streets to run. Maybe I should. Maybe I should. I'm starting to feel heavy. So perhaps I should just once in a while, even if it's only twice. But yeah, I think my coping mechanism is just doing things in my own time.
Because you're not stuck in traffic, you don't have to go to the gym, you're just all at home.
Yeah.
And also another thing with running is that if 30 minutes hits and you are 4 kilometers away from home, you have to bring yourself back. So that's how you push past your threshold, your time threshold for the workout. Because I also work out until I hit my vitality goal, but now it's going up. I think it's on 600. And I think pretty soon it's going to be on 900. So
again, yeah,
a lot more running is going to happen.
Sure.
Earlier on, you mentioned that your coaching is happening virtually, and you only meet your coach at the competition. And I think that's evident of the direction that we're moving to as society. Right now, you just mentioned that a lot of construction sites closed, but I've also heard a lot more companies are switching to smaller offices and working from home. So the future of the construction or rental space industry, I think, is also going to be affected. What do you think our new normal is going to be moving forward?
That's an interesting one. So there've been like webinar after webinar after webinars that are going on talking about how the
Mm,
new normal might work out. I don't think anyone's 100% sure as yet. I do hope that we get back to the office at some point, even if it is only in January. There's some beautiful buildings out there that companies are paying a lot of rental on that are sitting
yes,
empty right
yes.
now. A lot of those law firms are sitting empty right
Yeah.
now, which is it's sad. It's a shame.
The
So
glass houses.
it is. From the construction industry, we're not going to complain so much because we just go where our clients call us. So if it means my next project is in oil and gas and I'm building a new pipeline or I'm building a new data center because, IT is just taking over, that's really not an
Ah,
issue. I can go construct in any industry. That's not my issue. We just go where the clients are calling us. But yeah, our new
mm,
normal, I know a lot of the gym companies were striking yesterday saying that the gyms need to be reopened. And I feel for them. But I'm not about to go back to gym right now. I'm still scared. So I don't know what that experience is going to be like going forward. I mean, I enjoy spinning. I really do. But now I'm going to think
mm,
twice every single time I go into the spinning studio. I'm like, is it safe? Can I be so close to the next person? You get those aerobics classes that were so popular that they'd
yeah.
be jam packed. And we didn't really care because we're just having fun. But now it's like they're going to restrict it to maybe a quarter of the numbers that they used to be before. Will it still be as fun? Will we still trust each other and feel safe in that space?
Mm,
I don't know. It's going to be tough. People will now
I,
be wiping equipment though, no? Now, so gym equipment they're going to
yeah.
wipe. Now I can literally say, hey, like, wipe your stuff. So
Mm,
gym's going to be a tough one going forward.
I agree. I remember my Wednesday yoga class would be so packed. We'd literally put our mat in front of the mirror, which is literally next to the instructor. That's how packed yoga would be.
Jeez.
So the last email that I read from the gym was like they're gonna limit and cut down the size of the classes, and they're gonna have blocks on the floor to say you stay in this block, you stay in this block. And I was just wondering, is the gym experience still going to be the same? Because my gym is close to work, and if I'm not going back to the office, then I don't think I'm gonna go back to gym anyway, because it's not worth it, you know?
I've
So
heard a lot of
if
people saying that.
yeah, I only signed up to that gym because it was what 3 minutes away from the office. But if I'm not back at the office, the closest branch to me is a 30-minute drive away from me, so I'm not gonna go back. I am gonna miss the swimming pool though, but yeah, no, it's not gonna happen.
Department of Sports and Recreation must beef up all those recreation centers so that our swimming pools are fixed and we can swim again. But yes, you touch on a very good point. A lot of people I've spoken to have adopted or embraced this online training platform so much that they don't feel the need to go back to gym. They're like,
Hmm.
yeah, my personal trainer is now giving me classes online. That works for me. And I think if you're a personal trainer and you haven't jumped on the online training platform yet during lockdown, oh, you are sleeping. You really need
Mm,
to jump onto it. SA hasn't been ready for it. I know a lot of overseas people do it. And SA, a
mm,
lot of people are like, no, but I want you to be there with me when I'm doing my training. But now it's lockdown and the game's
yeah.
changing and it's changed so quickly. So if you haven't
Mm,
adapted as a PT, then maybe you shouldn't be a PT.
yeah. Yeah.
No.
Because what are you doing now that it's locked down? You know, if the gyms are closed,
Mm.
you don't have an option but
Yeah, how are
to
you
do the
making
online
income?
work. Hmm.
Mm.
Interesting times. You know, also the stable ways of making income
Yeah.
have also shifted. A lot of people have lost their safe jobs.
Yep.
So now I think we all have to think if I lose my job tomorrow, what else can I do?
True.
And here come, multiple skills, multiple income streams. So
True.
these are interesting times. These are interesting times.
Now we can understand how the Americans used to work 2 or 3 jobs because it didn't make sense before.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But the fact that they could have access to 2 or 3 jobs was pretty amazing because here you couldn't even get one, you know?
True. True.
Hmm.
Very true.
And it's not a question, but my last request to you is for you to share a message for the women of South Africa because it is Women's Month after
It
all.
is. It is, and social media is flooded with all these Women's
Mm-hmm.
Day posters and messages. So it's great. Yeah, we wait for like that 1 month in the year to celebrate ourselves, but it's good. It's better than nothing. It's a lot better than nothing. What is my message to women? Sure. I think caring so much about what other people think and rather do things that they want to do. So you mentioned the lady who does rock climbing. If you want to go rock climbing, find out where they're offering it and sign up and get started. If you want to do bodybuilding, forget about what the church is going to say. Yes, my church also had stuff to say, but it's something I really, really wanted to do. And I learned so much about the sport that I've come to respect it. So just get out there and do it. Stop thinking about what everyone else is going to say or think and do what you want to do. And it's a very difficult thing to let go of. I know, from myself, I tend to be quite a people pleaser and I
Mm.
do tend to stress about what other people think. But I'm slowly learning, and I even had to sign myself up for therapy. Like, I hadn't been to therapy in years, but it's been one of the most liberating things to do because you realize just how much you're trying to conform to what other people think, that you've taken the focus off yourself. So if it means signing up for therapy, go and sign therapy, guys. Go and sign up for therapy and have those sessions. But realize that this is your life and do what you want to do what makes you happy. Have a plan. So set your goals, have a plan, and make it happen.
You touched on a very important point there, which was therapy. Thank you for your message, by the way. It was very beautiful. I think we need to talk about, we need to normalize going to therapy. It needs to be a thing that's not stigmatized. It needs to be a thing that people just go to because they feel like they need to unload. There's a lot of things happening in the world today, but unfortunately, going to therapy or rather having mental health issues is still categorized as being crazy
Mm-hmm.
and it still has a negative stigma around it. It's the perils of COVID and everybody being home. The internet is overloaded. It's
Yes, it
Netflix and
is.
YouTube. Yeah, I was just saying,
Oh
I
my
think
God.
we should normalize going to therapy
Mm,
and should definitely take away the negative connotations of needing therapy or having mental health issues.
absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. I agree.
Teboho, it's been so nice talking to you and for me to actually for us to actually get a glimpse into the bodybuilding world. I didn't know how
It's
hectic it was. I had no idea. But today I
uh,
learned something new.
thank you.
And thank you for taking time out and letting us into your world. Maybe you'll start running again. 3 kilometers is not bad. Maybe cap it
I'll
at
be
5.
huffing and puffing.
Start with 1. Start walking with 1.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
2. Pele,
I
you've
will.
done a whole
I'll give
half
it a shot.
marathon before. Just to burn
I
off
will
the fat that
definitely
you
give
picked
it a
up.
shot.
You should. You
All
should.
right.
You definitely should.
All
Hmm.
right. Thank you. I will.
Thank you so much.